First of all, Damon, I wanted to thank you for your nice apology, and I do accept it. You've restored my faith in you, because I always thought that you were an above average young man, and I still believe that. And anyway, I appreciate you being the type of person you are, and I anyway. Hope we can be friends for a long, long time. At least until I kick the bucket, which I hope is a long time. Hope it's at least, I don't know, 80, 85 years. Probably be in the next 5 years that I'll kick the bucket. But anyway, thanks, Damon. Anyway, I had somebody that wanted to find out what I did or what jobs I've had in my life. Well, besides being a male stripper, but anyway, and I swear to God, these are my jobs. I've tried to remember them all. I probably haven't remembered them all, but I'll do my best to tell you what I've done with my life. Duh. And anyway, of course, in elementary school, I, like everybody else, well, maybe not like everybody else, but I mowed lawns in the summertime and shoveled sidewalks when it snowed in the winter. And I, with that money, I bought, well, I went to the show and things like that, but I really loved my mother, well, and my father, but I saved and I bought my mother presents. Sounds dumb, I know, but I bought her some really neat presents when I was just in elementary school, like a movie camera, for instance, and a projector, a wall clock, just different things because I loved my mother so much. Well, I have to tell you that my parents got divorced when I was 5, so I lived with my mother most of the time. But anyway, I wanted to show her that I loved her, and I went out and worked and bought her presents, But anyway, after that, during elementary school period, I knew a guy that was I think he was in high school, and he was a janitor. He was a janitor for the elementary school, and he asked me if I wanted to give him a hand after school. Well, it was before school started. I went over to the elementary school and we did some janitorial work before school started. I got up, went over there like at 6 in the morning. Here I am in elementary school. Anyway, I got up at 6, went over there. And then at night after school, I worked for about an hour and a half over there with him, with Dwight Coons, neat guy. And anyway, it was really a neat job. Wasn't trying to show off, but I thought it was kind of cool that I was one of the janitors in the school, and that was the school I went to. In elementary school, but it was a lot of fun to do that with them. Now my camera's screwing up here. Anyway, and then what did I do then? I got a job at a florist shop. Putting flower decorations together when people would buy a dozen roses or a dozen carnations or whatever. I'd put the greenery in and do the box or a flower display in a vase. And so that was my job in the florist shop. I also, during high school, I was through about 118 papers in the morning before I went to school. Got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and through 118 papers. And these are the days where you had to go out and do your own collecting. So I threw my own, or did my own collecting. I had a problem one time. Every time that someone called up and said they had missed their paper, I was charged 50 cents per miss, when you missed a paper for someone. So I used to get all these misses, on this one street, on First Avenue. I get all these misses, and I thought, I know damn well that I delivered those papers. Anyway, one day I was throwing papers. I walked, and I saw this big dog. He was about 3 houses behind me, and I throw a paper up on the porch. He'd wait till I go about 3 houses down the street, and then he'd go up on the porch, get the paper in his mouth, and run off with it. And he did that for about 10 places in a row. And then, like every morning, I got, 10 to 15 misses. Anyway, I found out that the dog was doing that. I was charged 50 cents a pop. And so I found out who owned the dog and told them what was happening. So they took care of that problem. So anyway, it wasn't a great job. I had to go out and get another job to pay for my bill. I'd have people that I'd go collecting to, and they wouldn't pay me, or they'd give me some lame excuse, and then I'd go back a month later, when they said that they are having a hard time, and they'll pay me, for the month they're behind, plus the new month if I come back a month from now. So I go back a month later, and they'd be moved, things like that. So I lost money on the deal. I got a job at a movie theater. I worked in the box office and also at the ticket. I was an usher, received tickets in the lobby, and also worked the box office. And that was I loved that job. It was big time money. I mean, it was really low pay. I started off at 65 cents an hour, and after 2 years, I was up to 85 cents an hour. Hell, I was damn near a millionaire. 85 cents an hour after 2 years? I mean, that was, minimum wage was, I think, higher than that. But we had some benefits. We got like 4 free tickets every show that came, Duh. You know what I did with my 4 tickets? I went down and traded down to the drugstore at the ice cream fountain, and there was two really cute twin girls that worked behind the counter there, and I traded them tickets, show tickets, for banana splits or sundaes, Might as well. I got in for free anyway. These tickets were to kind of give to my family or friends or whatever. I traded them for treats, baby. Why not? Huh? The same time they gave me a show. They knew what I was there for. They knew I wasn't there to eat a banana split. I was there to look at them. Anyway, they gave me quite a show too, Oh, baby. Let's see. What else did I do? During high school, I also got a job with a older guy. After school, I think it was 3 days a week, that we would go to about 10 stores. After school, we'd go to about 10 grocery stores and rotate milk. We'd go to the stores, go to the milk section, anyway, and we'd rotate, put the old milk in front and then new milk in the back. And, they called it rotation of milk. And if there anything was spoiled or broken or whatever, we would take that out. So that's another thing I did. think that's what I did in elementary and high school. Then I went on a mission for my church. I went to Melbourne, Australia. I was also in Adelaide, Australia, and also Perth. I was there for 2 years. Let's see. After I got back from my mission, I worked for the Federal Reserve Bank, counting money, baby. I would count money and make sure that the beginning balance was well, take the beginning balance and then do the transactions for the day and make sure that the money at the end of the day balanced out. I was like an auditor, but I was like 21 years old. So I did that for a while. Then I drove for Wells Fargo. What was it? It was the armored car division, but it wasn't an armored car. I was in kind of a van, Wells Fargo van. But we would go into different banks and different things, but we didn't have any money in our van, but we worked with money. Then I also got a job with a place called Bankers Dispatch, where I had keys to about, 20 banks, and I'd every Thursday, I think it was, I went on a trip within about a 200-mile radius and went into different banks and picked up mail, correspondence from one bank to the other bank. I had keys to the bank, not to the bank, but to a special room where I got in, where I had the key to, and I got in and took care of the correspondence between banks. Then I got a job, let me think. No, I got a job with the county clerk's office. People would come in and they would want to, a marriage license or to do an order to show cause or a summons or a bench warrant, just different legal papers. I would be the person that would have them fill out certain papers so they could get those things taken care of. And that was the county clerk's office. At times I would go in the judge's chamber. There was one judge that I really liked. Anyway, and he liked me too. He was really, really a nice guy. I used to go into his chambers and just talk to him about Australia, what things I did in Australia and how I liked the country and different things. And he was very nice. He had a lot of confidence in me. And I just thought that was cool, that I was friends with a district court judge. See, what else did I do? I rented tuxedos. People come in, if they're having a wedding, and I would measure them for their tuxedo and make sure, I take their measurements, what they wanted, whether it was this, that, double-breasted thing or whatever. And so I worked there for a while. And then I got a job for a mortuary. I love this has got to be one of my favorite jobs. I got a job at a mortuary, going out and selling pre-need funeral programs. Everybody's going to die. Well, most everybody is. And so I sold a pre-need funeral program, and the idea was that eventually you're going to have to buy a funeral program for a loved one, whether it's a spouse or for a family member or whatever. And there's two ways of doing it. Either you can be forced to do it and have, so many days to do it. And then at that time you have emotional overspending, thinking, well, this is the last thing I can do for Bill, or this is the last time, or last thing I can do for Martha to, you know, show her I love her, or whatever. And they call it emotional overspending. So you think this is the last thing you can do for your loved one to show them how much you love them. So you overspend instead of getting a $1,200 casket. This was back in, you know, in the, let's see, I sold for this company probably from, I'm guessing, yeah, from about 1971 to about 1976. At that time, caskets were like $1,200. Today, they're several thousand. But there's an emotional overspending because you thought this is the very last thing you can possibly do to show your loved one that you love them. So you overspend. Instead of getting a $1,200 casket, they talk you in, you know, to getting a $3,600 casket with reversible mattress and adjustable mattress and electric blankets. You know, just kidding, but just ridiculous things. And it was called emotional overspending. And it was a hard time to do it because you're forced to do it. So the advantage of doing pre-need is that you can sit down with a counselor like myself that's not going to screw you over. I want your money, but we'll take good care of you, you know? So, you know, you're thinking properly. You don't have the emotional overspending problem, and you set it up for monthly payments. And if you die during the time of the contract, the rest of the contract is paid for. So anyway, there's a lot of benefits. But I love that job, and I was time after time I was top salesman. I remember one day I went out on New Year's Day. I figured that everybody would be home watching football games, and they were. And I hit the people. I just dropped in cold calling, they call it. And I just showed up at the door, and these are people that had cemetery property already. So I knew they were in this pre-need concept already because they'd already purchased, before they had to, their cemetery property. And so I wanted to contact, I told them that we're contacting our people that have cemetery property to show them the advantages of a funeral program. So I had an in, but one, you know, people watching football games, on that one day, it was, you know, New Year's Day, I sold 9 contracts. Just hitting people cold, 9 contracts I made, just for that one day, I made around $1,000. It was unbelievable. In fact, the sales manager told me not to turn all my contracts in, all my sales in, because I was going to make all the other salesmen feel bad that somehow I was getting, you know, the best leads or whatever. I wasn't. I worked smarter, baby. But anyway, I was winning prizes all the time. It was great. I was really darn good at it. I sold insulation for a while. I interviewed for a deputy constable position. I think there was like 100 guys that were interviewed for one position. A deputy constable is a person, if you don't know, it's a person that serves everything up to bench warrants, sometime including bench warrants. But anyway, it's a process server, and out of 100 people that applied, I was the lucky one. Ron was the lucky one. So that was a great job. It was scary at times. It was scary. I remember reading a complaint. It was a divorce papers that I had to go out and serve. And I was reading the complaint against this guy. He says, this guy's got a temper. You know, a note on the divorce or the summons and different things, divorce papers. there's a note that's saying, "This guy, be careful. This guy's got a temper. He's going to go berserk. He's had a case where he's threatened the neighbors, hit his wife, different things." So I was going out there. I had the lucky task of going out there and serving this guy. When he got off from work, I had to wait for him outside of his home. So when he got off of work, I had to go out and serve him papers, divorce papers. I was trying to figure out how I was going to fit inside the fireplace. You know, when he lost his cool. But anyway, he came home, and he was so nice. He was a really nice guy to me. I didn't have any problem at all with him. But I had problems. I remember, I won't tell you the one story, but because you'll think I'm racist, which I'm really not. But I remember one time there was a assistant manager of a grocery store, and I had I had something to serve him. I can't remember. I think it was might have been a garnishment. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, he came in the front of the store to see what I wanted. I told him who I was. I was a deputy constable for such and such precinct, and I had some papers for him, and he ran out of the store. And I ran out after him. This guy, here's an assistant manager of the store. He was running around the store, and I was running after, and I was running, trying to catch him. And I think I had his paper all filled out, you know, the time of service, the date, who was served by. And anyway, I told him, I say, look, I've got this filled out. As far as I'm concerned, you're served. I'm just going to wad this paper up and throw it at you. If you want to leave it on the ground, that's your business. And I did. So I did that. I went to condominiums where they wouldn't buzz you up because they didn't want to get served. And I said, look, I've got some Scotch tape. I'm going to post this in the condo, you know, in the lobby or whatever. And I'm going to post it. As far as I'm concerned, you're served. I've had communication with you. And I taped it. I said, I'm going to tape this on your wall, you know, or on the door. And I did. And they came down. They came down. I used to go up to people's doors, ring the doorbell. They wouldn't answer the door, and I saw them. I knew they were in there. They were crawling. I saw people crawling behind the couch. They were crawling, literally crawling behind the couch, you know, trying to hide from me, you know. Anyway, that was a nerve-wracking job. I ran to become a constable, and I became a constable. I was elected in my city to be a constable for my city precinct, one of them. So I was really a sheriff, you know, I was sheriff or constable. And anyway, I've had some experiences. I appraised homes at times. I was really good in real estate. I appraised homes for a wealthy guy that had all these homes, and I was really good in real estate. And anyway, so I know you're bored, you know, hang on, there's one more thing left. But anyway, for years I did family and corporate histories for people. I put histories together on their corporations, on their buildings, on their families, on whatever. And that's what I've been doing. That's pretty much in a nutshell what I've done, other than a male stripper. No, I've never done male stripping, and I've never seen male strippers. Why? Because I don't want to see male strippers. That's why. I have zero desire to see a male stripper. Now, a female stripper, I'm too old to have a desire to see a female stripper, you know? Don't kid yourself. When you're 70, I guarantee you when you're 70, Even though you have health problems, heart attacks, whatever, you still think, up here, you still think you're 35, baby. I still think I'm 35. I think like I'm 35. I still like looking at the pretty girls. Why wouldn't I? You know? I might be 70, but I'm not dead yet. I love looking at pretty women and you know, and the younger girls. They have to be above 18 for me to really look at them. But I like that. Why wouldn't I? Anyway, that's in a nutshell what I've done. Sounds boring, I guess. Sounds boring to most of you. But if I had my life to do over again, I'd probably do a few things differently. But overall, I've had a decent life, and I do have some regrets, but a lot of them aren't. A lot of the regrets I have doesn't have anything to do with my jobs that I have. But anyway, I hope that all is well with everybody, and I hope that you can get the cob out and start doing the right thing and send me a few bucks. You know, really, huh? I want money just like you do. Why wouldn't I? Get a grip on life, huh? Seriously. What have you done with your life, huh? You probably slept in. You probably sponged off your parents. Probably stayed in your parents' basement till you're, I don't know, age 40, age 45. Sponged off your parents for date money. Haven't had a decent job in your life. When you got married, you probably sent your wife out to work. Some of you polygamists, maybe you sent all your wives out to work. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Maybe if I had my life to live over again, I'd be a polygamist maybe, and I'd have I don't know, 6 or 7 wives. I'd have one at home, that, you know, that they could do the cooking and the cleaning, you know, clean the house and wash my car and different things. And then I'd have the other 5 or 6 that go out and earn a living and give me the money. They'd work their butts off, you know, and then they'd come home and be nice to me. And at the same time, every 2 weeks, they'd hand me their check. And I'd make sure that's really all the money that they should give me, that they're not hiding anything, you know. And then I'll put that in my account, and then I'll dispose of that money the way that I feel would be best for my wives and myself. You know, it's not a bad maybe it's not too late. Sounds like a pretty groovy way to live. You know, I don't know. Anyway, I hope that all is well. I'm trying to figure out how to close out of this. And I guess this is the way, isn't it?